Hello friends, welcome back to the garden. It is the month of July and I actually thought my planting season was over, but apparently it's not. I have plants and plants just keep on giving because part of their main purpose is really to reproduce. Every living thing has embedded inside of their DNA the desire and the need to reproduce, and this goes not just for humans but for plants as well. So actually, you see me looking around, I'm looking at my cucumber plants, and if you watched my last video about garden surprises, I have cucumbers springing up left, right, front, and center, and I have no remembrance of planting these seeds, at least not in this season. And so what I'm going to do today is transplant some of the, maybe, we'll see at the end of the video, because it's a lot of planting. It's kind of hot out here, but under the patio umbrella it feels really breezy. So my cucumbers and also my strawberries, they have tons of runners, so I'm going to show you how I root these runners and get a whole new strawberry plant. So I have not gone out and purchased any new plants, but like I said, plants and flowers just keep on giving. So I'm going to show you my cucumber plant. So take a look at the plant and you'll see that it actually has some true leaves now. This particular plant has some true leaves, so I can now transplant these. Now these ones are still just coming up. They don't have any true leaves. I gotta wait until that true leaf comes up from the center and then it's ready to be transplanted. So this, again, it came up in one of my strawberry pots here, and I was like, what a pleasant surprise. So I'll be planting those along with the strawberries. And also I stopped by my sister's yesterday and she gave me some tomatoes, and she also gave me some callalus. So callalus is very similar to like a spinach. I think I spoke about this before in another video, but this is how they look as seedlings, and we use it a lot in Caribbean dishes, and it's so delicious. I actually made some for supper last night. That's what we're going to do. We are going to transplant the callalus and the tomatoes in today's video. All right, so let's get planted. All right, friends, so these two callaloo plants I'm going to plant in that bucket right there, the beige one you see. I have some room over on the other side of the tomatoes, and so I'm going to go ahead and plant that out. Okay, so here's a close-up of the cucumbers, not the cucumbers, the callalus, one here, one there. I love this spot because it's easy access. When I'm making supper and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot the vegetables, because you can't have supper without vegetables. I could just come and grab that from the garden. All right, so before I move on, look at what the Japanese beetle, they're doing to my grapevine. The leaves are just getting eaten out by these Japanese beetles. They really love this plant as well, my raspberry plants. But those are really annoying. If you guys have a solution to get rid of them, then by all means share it with me in the comments. Now the trick is, for this season, it's July, there's very little room to plant anything new in the garden. You're gonna have to dig up some things. I'm thinking of digging up this area, but it just tends to be overcrowded with all these, I don't know, just grass growing up. It's just very frustrating. Just very frustrating. But the cabbage is coming along well. And since I removed the net from over the sunflowers, they're just flourishing. They're just doing so well. And of course, Japanese beetle, it ran off though. It flew off. But yeah, they're just doing so well. So I had to make that decision to remove it. All right, so I'm trying to find room here. And I may just put, I can't put the cucumbers there because look at this sunflower. It's huge and the cucumbers are just gonna grow up. I don't know. Where should I put it? I'm running out of room. There. Wow. Friends, finding a spot in the garden to plant in the month of July is difficult. Sometimes that means you got to pull some things out and put in some new plants. So in my case, I actually didn't have plants that I pulled out, but I pulled out a whole bunch of weedy grass in the garden bed. There was a lot of grass that was here, and I weeded it out, and that's where I ended up planting the callalus. There's one over here that actually came up on its own. There's one over here. I'm gonna give you guys a close-up in a moment so it makes sense to you. But yeah, it was a lot to find space, but I found it. I made room. I'm going to show you close up in a moment, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some eggshells around the plants that I believe need it, and then I will show you a close up of how it looks. Alrighty? Okay guys, so here is a close up. So I'll show you the callalus that I added here. Remember the grass I was telling you about? I have eggshells on my hand. That's how it looks, just over there in that corner, just grass keeps coming up in this garden bed. What I'm gonna do next year is I'm going to actually add some new soil after digging it up. I did dig it up at the beginning of the season, but I didn't add new soil all over the bed, and it obviously needs that. All right, so here is where I planted one callaloo there. Here's a carrot coming up. Here's another one there. And the ones with the eggshell there and there. And here's one that actually came back up from last year. These are callalus. So that's where I decided to plant it. And look, it came back up from last year as well, which is really great. And this is an up close view of our tomato plants. I don't know what this plant is right here, but I'm curious to see what it is. I didn't plant anything here, I know that for a fact. So I don't know if it's a weed that's rearing its ugly head, but I'm curious. So let's see. I'm gonna watch it and see. So yeah, that's where I ended up planting these callalus. And you can see that callalus are just popping up everywhere. I don't know them to be perennials, but they're just popping out. This is where it was planted last year, in this grow bag that's disintegrated now. And look, it's coming up again. My beans are drying up. And look, we have a bean. Actually, I'll pull that another time. Right now, I have to keep focused on planting out these seedlings that I have. This is just an update of how everything is doing. So, for the seedlings, man, I just love these sunflowers. It's my first year planting it in the garden, and they just look so glorious. I love them. Could you imagine? Look at this Japanese beetle. Ugh. Could you imagine how gorgeous it's going to look once the flower actually comes up? My goodness. So I've decided that since everything is full over here and I don't want to dig up any more of these annoying grass, I'm going to plant the remaining tomatoes in this pot because these asparagus, I don't know what they're doing. So that's what I'm going to do. And while I do that, I'm gonna have some raspberries as a snack as my reward. First of all, before I show you where I planted the tomatoes, look at all the raspberries on this plant. Isn't it beautiful? It's actually more than one plant. I have different, I think about 3 pots there. But the raspberries are so sweet, so delicious. But here's where I ended up planting 2 of the tomatoes. In the center is the asparagus. I don't know what's going on with it, so I'm just leaving it there just in case it decides to spring back up. For the third tomato plant, I got a little lazy and I planted it right there in the center. See? Right there. And that's where I parked that one. This is some wildflowers. And then I am going to take you to admire the sunflowers. They're really pretty. But I will show you where I planted the other tomato. I planted it right here. Right there. That's where I parked it at the end of the garden bed. It's gonna be enough room when this one's already large. It's only gonna get bigger, and I'm going to pull this out because I don't recognize it. Therefore, it's an imposter. That's what weeds are. They try to mimic the real plants. So I'm gonna yank this out because I didn't plant you, buddy. And that will give plenty of room for my tomato. And the last tomato I actually planted right here. I want to see how it does. And yes, that is where I planted the tomatoes. And I'm looking forward to all the tomatoes we will get this summer and in the fall. Okay friends, so that's it for today's video. I hope, my goodness, listen, before I end the video, I want to say there is a season for everything. Whatever season you're going through in life right now, there is a season for everything, and we could see it just by looking in the garden. July, I get why it's not a big gardening season because it's hot. Like, I'm just so hot. I actually refuse to plant anything else. I'm not going to do the cucumbers today, but it is hot. I will eventually do it. It's just nicer to plant when it's cooler, the weather is calm, there isn't too much direct sun. But oh my gosh, you guys, I am so tired just from being out here. But I did get most of it planted out. The tomatoes are planted out, the callaloo plants, and then the strawberry runners. They're now in a pot where they can properly root. And I'm going to water the plants, and I will see you on the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your July, and make sure you hydrate. God bless you guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.